Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, glories to Srila Prabhupada and the Sankirtan mission of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And we want to welcome you, all of you Prabhupada disciples, servants of the pure devotee of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami. And this is the secret of success in spiritual life, to accept a bona fide spiritual master and to serve them or him without condition, unconditional service. And in this way, one's spiritual life can become fulfilled in the human form of life, which is a very valuable opportunity for everyone in this world. Prabhupada came to the West with this mission to present the truth, the absolute truth, and he did it expertly through the printing and publishing of his books. This Prabhupada mentioned that the temples may fail and everything else, his disciples may fail, the movement may fail, but his books would not fail. And this is the transcendental reality of Bhakti Yoga, because the yoga of the Bhakti Yoga process is centered around hearing and chanting. And the hearing of Srimad Bhagavatam, today we will be reading and discussing the Bhagavatam from Prabhupada's original books that he brought from India in a trunk. And they were very valuable. And we are also very honored to be able to take up this campaign with our group of reprinting the original Srimad Bhagavatams that Prabhupada brought himself from India. Here's a copy here. I received this from Madhuha a few years ago. They were printed, and he was distributing them secretly at the Rath Yatra festivals where he was touring globally, or at least in North America, and he was being restricted by the ISKCON people to sell these original books. Can you imagine? Gitas and other books like this. So he had them stashed in his trailer. And when I went, we secretly took our beautiful set of books and brought them back to Hamilton to our ashram. And they are certainly a treasured possession of myself. And I thoroughly enjoy the reading of these books because they're so authentic. There are quite a few grammatical errors, punctuation may be incorrect, but the essence, the truth of the philosophy is contained in the beautiful writings of Srila Prabhupada pre-1965. Yes. Before even the mission of ISKCON was started by him, and we just read the incorporation documents that were submitted back in 1966 in July on the purposes of the organization, and Prabhupada wrote these purposes himself. How do we know that? Because none of the people that were coming around could even barely understand the philosophy of Krishna consciousness. They were total neophytes. So Prabhupada designed the society according to his vision of how it should be operated moving into the future. And so we are very happy to carry on with his mission as Prabhupada disciples, not disciples of other so-called fake gurus that have emerged in the ISKCON movement that he established. That is a mistake. Their whole criteria for operation is based on a fallacy that they were appointed to be bona fide gurus, Diksha gurus in Prabhupada's mission. No, bogus. The whole thing is bogus. And prove to us otherwise, either in documents, in letters, in any form, shape. And what about the fact of how everybody in that group has acted after Prabhupada's departure? Pretending, posing, and posturing as Diksha gurus. It's completely unfortunate that Prabhupada's mission was contaminated with a few ambitious, mostly American disciples. Yes. And so we are thankful as a group that we have an opportunity to work together with Srila Prabhupada and Lord Nrsingadev. Huh? You see behind me? Lord Nrsingadev is there. This is no joke. We are not playing around with philosophy. This is not our business to speculate, looking for self-promotion. Some people may think that, oh yeah, well look at their speaking. Well, what can we do? You have to take the human form and use that energy in some practical service, just like we're doing this fundraising drive. And by the way, this is a very ecstatic program that's been introduced into our group, which wasn't there before, where we're giving all of us an opportunity to give money, Lakshmi, to this very valuable mission. It was strange. As all of you know, or most of you know, I've been in a lot of activities, a lot of businesses throughout my life. And I was thinking, we've been running this. Yashoda's had this society for 22 years and never had one penny donated to it. It's a registered charitable organization. Somehow or other, for me, it didn't seem right that you have run a charity, but you've never collected one penny. Not one penny, you never asked. Well, we're collecting money now for the printing of Srila Prabhupada's original Srimad Bhagavatams, and is bringing a great source of inspiration for all of us that are participating. Yes, it is. Because we're able to dovetail the results of our work, even if it's money, which is Lakshmi Devi, in the service of the Sankirtan mission of Srila Prabhupada. And this is a great opportunity. People that don't take advantage of it, that's to their situation. That's their situation. That's their decision, for whatever reason. And I want to congratulate the people that did step up yesterday, by the way. Thank you, all of you. We only had 14 people donate to this program since we started it. And yesterday it went to 24. We had 10 people donate out of 8 billion. Out of 8 billion people. Look at how many thousands, tens of thousands of so-called devotees exist in this world. And yet we had 8 people donate a small amount of Lakshmi for the republication of Prabhupada's original Delhi books. And thank you, all of you. It's inspiring for us to see. It's not a question of the amount of money that you give. Sure, you could give 1,000. If we had 24 people give $1,000, that would be $24,000, and the campaign would be released or achieved. If we have 500 people, that's $500 per person. That would be 48 people, and our campaign is achieved. If we have people, simple mathematics, if we have 108 people and they each give $20, or 200 people give $108, we've just about achieved the campaign. And give whatever you can. But the idea is you have a chance now to be active in this spiritual effort to spread Krishna consciousness by all of us working together. Just like the different bamboo sticks, when they're tied together, they become very strong. And your participation, the 24 that have given some money, whatever they could, for this mission, has been a real source of enlivenment for all of us. And I especially appreciate it. It's very enlivening. And I can see a vision in this of how we can continue to expand our mission with everyone's help. Yes, with everyone's help. It's teamwork that wins, not individual guruships, especially fraudulent ones like the Diksha gurus in that ISKCON movement. Build temples, wow. Huh? Is that going to make people advanced in spiritual knowledge? No, the original books will. And if you have the blessing of Lord Chaitanya to read them, you'll get the insight that you're looking for to go back home, back to Godhead. It's a passageway into the spiritual world when the books are uncontaminated, unedited by people like Jayadvaita and his other buddy there, Dravida, in San Diego. You can see we're not fans of these people at all. Not at all. And we're going to move forward here with the diaries of Srila Prabhupada. Great insights in these diaries to see how Prabhupada was acting in the spreading of Krishna consciousness in the early days. And here we put up the page from 164, which shows the, here is the document of, so it was at, looks like July 24th, 7/1966. There's all kinds of dates on this. But it shows the certificate of incorporation. So it went through all kinds of legal steps, as Yashodanandana Prabhu being in the law field. He's very aware of all these stamps and dates and acknowledgments. So very interesting is the way Prabhupada was working. And I've made a quick reference here to the pages. So you can see Prabhupada's temperament was, or focus was slightly changing as the corporation took place. And so we'll go to Wednesday, July 13th. Take a look at that. Yeah. It's basically income expense reports. So Prabhupada was conscious of Lakshmi very much. And you could see going down Wednesday, July 20th, like that. So go through those, that's fine. Prabhu. And up to August 30th. He didn't write much in his diaries there. Yeah, look. It's beautiful handwriting. Keeping track of everything. Look how small the amounts are. Prabhupada was very meticulous. Here's again some more information there. And look at Prabhupada, how beautiful he is. So austere, so renounced, but focused completely. And September 1st, Thursday, there we go. And again, showing his accounting of the money. And he says, Mr. Gardner wants to increase the rent to $71. He came and got it signed by me before the trustees. I think it is not just. So back then, Prabhupada wasn't pleased with the increase in the rent. Keep going there, flip over. And more pages here, September 2nd and up to the 5th. And then Tuesday, the September 6th, up to September 9th, 1966. And then Saturday, the 10th of September, like that, up to September 13th. Yes. And here we'll just read a quick. On Wednesday, September 14th. So we'll read this section quickly. Dr. Edward Harnick's psychiatrist supplied one set of books, Bhagavatam through Keith. That must have been Keith Ham. Dr. Edward Harnick, and that's his address. And here's a note by Allen Ginsberg. Peter Orlowski and I met Harnick at a group that I knew called the GAP Group for the Advancement of Psychiatry. We had been there to their conference. They had invited us to talk about hippies, and they wanted to know what was the generation thing. It was like a breakthrough between the poets and the new culture and the psychiatric groups. So we were given a big poetry reading and made friends with a lot of them and sang Hare Krishna with them, the whole thing. Over the years, Harnick and I developed a pleasant friendship and worked out an arrangement that if I knew anybody particularly gifted among the younger generation that was getting screwed up in the Lower East Side for drugs or bus or madness or whatever, that rather they have than have them go through the whole horror mill of Bellevue, that's a psychiatric hospital, and not know what to do, to put them in touch with him and the Einstein Clinic so he could intervene to make sure that they had a safe refuge. When Kirtananda's case came up, at that time he wasn't the only one in trouble. There were a lot of hippies going through the same problem, wandering the streets, flipping out. It was a question of finding a psychiatrist who had a little political clout in the New York psychiatric community among the hospitals, whom we could talk to and explain about what the situation was, that this guy was a devotee practicing traditional Vaishnava practice, and that's why he looked so funny in the American context. But it was all right. He wasn't crazy. He was just doing his thing. Harnick was good. He picked up fast and could intervene. So here, Allen Ginsberg's talking about how crazy people were back then. No different than nowadays. Everybody's gone completely insane as the Kali Yuga continues to progress. And we see it unfolding before us. And the possibility of nuclear war emerging with these conflicts that are going on globally. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and the Sankirtan movement of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. We'll move forward with the chanting of Jaya Radha Madhava, and then the wonderful Srimad Bhagavatam class given by His Grace Yashodanandana Prabhu, who's suffering from a snowstorm up in the mountains of California.
Sai. Jaya Radha सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी प्रभुपाद की जय, अनंत कोटि वैष्णववृंद की जय, रामाचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद से अद्वैत गदाधर शिवास आदि गौर भक्तवृंद की जय। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गौ गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरिवर्धन की जय, वृंदावन धाम की जय, नवद्वीप धाम की जय, स्वामी तो भक्तवृंद की जय, गंगा माई की जय, जमुना माई की जय, तुलसी देवी की जय, भक्ति देवी की जय, स्वामी तो भक्तवृंद की जय। All glories to the assembled Lord. All glories to the assembled Lord. Thank you very much.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. O my Lord Sri Krishna, the son of Vasudeva, the all-pervading personality of Godhead, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. From Srimad Bhagavatam 1:1:1. Narayanam namaskritya Narayanam namaskritya Naram cheva narottamam Naram cheva narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyāsam Devim Saraswatim Vyāsam Tato Jayam Mudirayet Tato Jayam Mudirayet. One should utter the means of conquest, Srimad Bhagavatam, after offering respectful obeisances, 1, to the personality of Godhead Narayana, 2, to the Naranarayana Rishi, who is the supermost human being, 3, to the Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, then 4, to Srila Vyāsadeva, the author. From Srimad Bhagavatam 1-4. Welcome everyone to this reading and discussion on the Srimad Bhagavatam. As we do every week, we will be reading a few selected verses which explains the meaning and the benefit of hearing this great transcendental literature. We'll be reading from Canto 1, Chapter 2, text number 16, I believe. Shushrushoho Shraddadhanasya Vasudeva Kataruchi Syanmahat Sevaya Vipra Punyatirtha Nishevanat. O the twice-born sages, by serving those devotees who are completely freed from all ranges of vice, a standard of great service is done, and as the result of such great service, affinity in the messages of Vasudeva is made possible. Text number 17. Shrinvatam svakatha Krishnaham Punyashravana Kirtanaham Ridyantasto Hyabhadrani Vidunoti Suritsatam. Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, who is also the Paramatma in everyone's heart and the benefactor of the truthful devotee, does cleanse the desire for material enjoyment in the heart of the devotee, who has developed the urge for hearing his, Krishna's messages, which are themselves virtuous when properly heard and chanted. Text number 18. Nashta prayesha babhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevayam bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktira bhavati naishtiki. By regular attendance in the Bhagavatam class or rendering service unto the pure devotees, all that is inauspicious in the heart of a candidate becomes destroyed almost to nil, and thus loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, comes into being an irrevocable fact. Text number 19. Tadarajastamo bhava kamalo bhadayaschaye chetayeterana viddam stitam sattve prasidati. As soon as irrevocable loving service is fixed up in one's heart, At that time, the effects of the nature's mode of passion and ignorance, such as lust, desire, and hankerings, etc., do disappear from one's heart, and he becomes fixed up in a mode of goodness, which makes him completely happy. Again, thanks everybody for participating in this most auspicious reading and discussion. As we do every week, we will be reading a few select verses from the Gaudiya Kanta R, which was compiled under the direction of Bhakti's Divine Grace, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada, explaining the greatness of the Srimad Bhagavatam. This is a quote from the Madhya Lila of Chaitanya Charitamrita, chapter 22, text 13 and 14. Chaitanya Bhagavata, Madhya Lila, chapter 22, text 13 and 14. Mahachintya Bhagavata Sarva Shastragai, Ihana Bhuje Vidya Tapa Pratistai, Bhagavata Bhuje Henu Yara Chignan, Senajaneka Bu Bhagavatera Praman. According to all the revealed scriptures, the Srimad Bhagavatam is inconceivable, beyond mundane understanding. Its meaning cannot be understood either by scholarship or penance. One who is not a devotee of Krishna, no matter how great a scholar he may be, will never understand Srimad Bhagavatam. The next one is from Chaitanya Bhagavat, Madhya Lila or Madhya Kanda, chapter 22, text 25. Bhagavati achintya ishwar buddhiyar, se janaya bhagavata artha bhakti sar. Srimad Bhagavatam as inconceivable knowledge about the Supreme Lord. One who knows this knows the Srimad Bhagavatam is the essence of devotion, gives the essence of devotion to Krishna. We will proceed with our reading. Today we will be reading from Canto 1, Chapter 5, and we are reading from text number 11. All synonyms, translations, and purports by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Founder Acharya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, also known as the Krishna Consciousness Movement. Text number 11. Yasmin pratishlokama baddhavapyati namani anantasya yashwan kintani yat shrinvanti gayanti grinanti sadabaham. Tat, that. Vaga, vocabulary. Visarga, creation. Janata, the people in general. Agha, sins. Viplavu, revolutionary. Yasmin, in which. Pratishlokam, each and every stanza. Abhadavat, irregularly composed. Api, in spite of. Namani, transcendental names, etc. Anantasya, of the unlimited Lord. Yasho, glories. Ankitani, depicted. Yat, what? Shrinvanti, do hear. Gayanti, do sing. Grinanti, do accept. Sadavaha, the purified honest. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. On the other hand, the literature which is full with description of transcendental glories of the name, fame, forms, pastime, etc., of the unlimited Supreme Lord is a different creation of transcendental vocabulary, all meant from bringing about a revolution in the impious life of a misdirected civilization of the world. Such transcendental literatures, even though irregularly composed, is heard, sung and accepted by the purified men who are thoroughly honest. Purport by His Divine Grace. It is part of a qualification of the great thinkers to pick up best even from the worst. It is said that intelligent man should pick up nectar from the stalk of poison. He should accept gold even from the filthy place. He should accept a good and qualified wife even from the obscure family. He should accept good lesson from a man or from a teacher who may come from the untouchables. These are some of the ethical instructions for everyone in every place without any exception. But a saint is far above the level of an ordinary man, and is always absorbed in the business of glorifying the Supreme Lord, because by broadcasting the holy name, fame of the Supreme Lord, the polluted atmosphere of the world will have a change of heart of the people in general, and as a result of such propaganda, through the transcendental literatures like Srimad Bhagavatam, people will become sane in their transactions honestly and diligently. While preparing this commentation on this particular stanza of Srimad Bhagavatam, we have a crisis before us that our neighboring friend China has attacked the border of India in a militant spirit. We have practically no business in the political field, and yet we study situation that in old age there were both China and India, and they lived peacefully for centuries without any ill feeling between them. The reason as they did is that they lived in those days in an atmosphere of God consciousness, and therefore every country over the surface of the world was God-fearing, pure-hearted, simple populace, and there was no question of political diplomacy for nothing. Practically, there is no cause of quarrel between the two countries of China and India on the issue of a land which is not very suitable for habitation. And reasonably, there is no cause of fighting on this issue. But due to the age of quarrel, Kali, which we have discussed in these pages of Srimad Bhagavatam, there is always a chance of quarrel on slight provocation. This is due not to the issue at question, but it is due to the polluted atmosphere of this age, when systematically there is propaganda by a section of people to stop glorification of the name and fame of the Supreme Lord. Therefore, there is a great need of disseminating the message of Srimad Bhagavatam all over the world. It is the duty of every responsible Indian to broadcast the transcendental message of Srimad Bhagavatam throughout the world, to do them the supermost good, as well as to bring about the desired peace in the world, because India has failed in her duty by neglecting this responsible work. There is so much quarrel and trouble all over the world. We are confident if the transcendental messages of Srimad Bhagavatam is received only by the leading men of the world, certainly there will be a change of heart, and naturally the people in general will follow them. The mass people in general are, so to say, tools in the hands of the modern politicians and leaders of the people. If there is a change of heart of the leaders only, certainly there will be a radical change in the atmosphere of the world situation. We know that in our honest attempt for presenting this great literature, conveying transcendental message for reviving the God consciousness of the people in general, as a matter of re-spiritualization of the world atmosphere, is fraught with many difficulties. Regard being had to the fact that our capacity of presenting the matter in adequate language especially a foreign language, will certainly fail, and there may be so many literary discrepancies in spite of our honest attempts to present it in the proper way. But we are sure that with our all faults in this connection, the seriousness of the subject matter will be taken into consideration, and the leaders of the society will still accept this on account of its big and honest attempt for glorifying the Almighty Great so much how badly needed. When there is fire in the house, the inmates of the house go out for help from the neighbors who may be foreigners to such inmates, and yet, without any adequate language, the victims of the fire express themselves, and the neighbors understand the need, even though not expressed in adequate language. The same spirit of cooperation is needed in the matter of broadcasting this transcendental message of the Srimad Bhagavatam throughout the whole polluted atmosphere of the present-day world situation. After all, it is a technical science of spiritual values, and as such, we are concerned with the techniques and not with the language. If the techniques of this great literature are understood by the people of the world, there is the success. When there's too much materialistic activities by the people in general all over the world, there is nothing to be astonished if a person or a nation attacks another person or nation on slight provocation. That is the rule of this age of Kali or quarrel. The atmosphere is already polluted with corruption of all description, and everyone knows it well than we can describe herewith. There are so many unwanted literatures full of materialistic ideas of sense gratification. In many countries, there are censors body appointed by the state to detect obscene literatures. This means both the government and the saner section of public do not want that such unwanted literature should be published, but still they are in the marketplace because the people want it for sense gratification. The people in general want to read, that is a natural instinct, but because their mind is polluted, they want such literatures. Under the circumstances, transcendental literatures like Srimad Bhagavatam will not only diminish activities of the corrupted mind of the people in general, but also it will supply food for their hankering after reading some interesting literature. In the beginning, they may not like it because in the disease condition suffering from jaundice, one is reluctant to take sugar candy. But we must know it that sugar candy is the only remedy for the jaundice disease. Similarly, let there be, wait a minute here. When they have taste for this literature, similarly, let there be a systematic propaganda for popularizing reading of the Bhagavad Gita and the Srimad Bhagavatam, which will act like the sugar candy and the jaundice-like disease condition of sense gratification. When they have taste for this literature, the other literatures which are catering poison in the society will then automatically cease, because they will cease to read them on account of transcendental literature like Srimad Bhagavatam being available for reading propensity. We are sure, therefore, that everyone in the human society will welcome Srimad Bhagavatam, even though it is now presented with so many faulty and broken linguistic technicalities, because it is recommended by such an authorized personality as Sri Narada, who has very kindly appeared from this chapter. Wow. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnanan Janashalakaya Chakshuran Militam Yena Tasme Shri Gurave Namaham Namaum Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shanyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Bhakti Siddhanta Shishyaya Bhaktivedanta Namine Prasannaya Prashantaya Tasme Shri Gurave Namaha Bhagavad Vandanam Kadhyam Guru Vandana Purvakam Kshiram Sharkara Yuktam Kadatehi Visheshatah Hadadana Strinam Danteridam Yati Punaha Punaha Srimad Rupa Padam Bhoja Dhurishyam Janma Janmani Amsho Bhagavato Smyaham Sadadasu Asmi Sarvata Tat Kripa Pikshako Nityam Tat Preshta Shat Karomishvam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrindam Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So here we can see that Srila Prabhupada is explaining very nicely the situation with Srimad Bhagavatam and some of his early publications, which did have some technical, grammatical irregularities, such as misspellings or whatever, or improper punctuation. But that is not the issue. Prabhupada explains the importance of conveying the message, the absolute necessity of presenting the message. Of course, later on, Srila Prabhupada requested his editor, Hayagriva, to edit the Srimad Bhagavatam. Hayagriva was very qualified, having a master's degree in English, and he requested him to edit so that it would be presentable for American audience, Western audience, which is nice. But I find it very interesting that while we're in the midst of this campaign to try to raise funds to get the Srimad Bhagavatam first canto, original first canto published, we are reading one of the best explanations that any devotee can find anywhere about the Srimad Bhagavatam, about what was Srila Prabhupada doing. Why? Because Prabhupada wanted to get the message out. He wanted to get the message out. And this is very important. Everybody has seen in America or Canada sometime when there's a crime that's committed, the police will first get there and everything is not yet known. Who did the crime? What happened? What were the circumstances? And they put some yellow tape around. They don't want nobody there. They don't want anybody to interfere or contaminate with the crime scene. So they'll have trained investigators, trained detectives come in, and they'll analyze things. They're trained like that. So Srila Prabhupada is like a transcendental detective who could see the great need for presenting this most important science of Srimad Bhagavatam. I put up on the chat, if some of you can look at it, it's a quote from Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, chapter 3, text number 4, where it is explained that this Bhagavad Purana is as brilliant as the sun, and it has arisen just after the departure of Lord Krishna to his own abode, accompanied by religion, knowledge, etc. Persons who have lost their vision due to the dense darkness of ignorance in the age of Kali shall get light from this Purana. So this is so important. And we can see what Prabhupada is saying in the purport. One who can see Srimad Bhagavatam can see also Lord Sri Krishna in person. They are identical. There is no difference between Lord Krishna himself and his transcendental Srimad Bhagavatam. What to speak of the wonderful explanations of Krishna's pure devotee, Srila Prabhupada. These purports and explanations from Srila Prabhupada are non-different from him. I really get a chuckle every time I see people arguing on the internet, and they say, oh, how can Prabhupada give initiation? Well, first of all, what's initiation? Before you can discuss whether Prabhupada can or cannot, should or should not, how does Prabhupada define initiation in his teachings, in his conversations? What does he say? Initiations mean beginning. We've discussed this many times. Prabhupada many times has explained, when they read my books, they're being initiated. They're getting the introduction, the beginning of spiritual life. And the formalities of initiation, while Prabhupada was here, he introduced a very unique, unprecedented system of having representatives, temple presidents, senior sannyasis, disciples, senior disciples, Sankirtan leaders, GBCs. He had them represent them by taking care of the fire sacrifice, the formalities. But who is giving the essence of the initiation, the transmission of transcendental knowledge? Srila Prabhupada. Who is given the essence of the process, the transcendental discipline? Srila Prabhupada. That's what the Srimad Bhagavatam is doing. Prabhupada's purport to the Srimad Bhagavatam are the greatest benediction for human society. And even though, admittedly, Prabhupada explains in this purport that there are grammatical discrepancies, but Prabhupada gives a nice example. If there is a fire, sometimes people will seek help from the neighbors, the house is on fire. If the neighbors speak Mongolian or Chinese or Polish language, they'll understand, they'll see the difficulty, they'll see what happened, and they'll come and help. And this is the situation. Because of the current situation, due to the advancement of Kali Yuga, the age of quarrel and hypocrisy, this is most important literature. Most important literature to give a chance to people to purify their lives, to change their attitude, change their consciousness, take up the process of devotional service to Krishna, and make progress towards back home, back to Godhead. Now, it is very important to understand, so many devotees often will comment and say, who are you two in this program to criticize the other devotees in the ISKCON society? Well, first of all, we don't consider this criticism. We have often discussed, this is not fault-finding. It is fact-finding to ascertain the truth, to exactly ascertain what should be done and what should not be done. That is the point. It is not a personal issue against any member of the movement, any leader of movement. No, that is not the issue. The issue is simple. Prabhupada's teachings, Prabhupada's books, and Prabhupada's presentation should be respected, should be preserved, and should be honored. No one should tamper with Prabhupada's first edition books. But people may say, but Prabhupada wanted nice covers, Prabhupada wanted indexes, Prabhupada wanted glossaries, Prabhupada wanted the Sanskrit diacritics, Prabhupada wanted the list of... This is all nice and good. No one will object to that. We sure do not object to that. But Prabhupada's sacred purports, which are direct manifestation from Krishna, should never be touched. This is a very important point. Have you ever seen, if you ever watch a criminal investigation, the police and detectives will come with plastic bags and they'll pick up certain items. And they put in the bags, they'll mark it, the date, the time, the location. Why are they doing that? Because this may be evidence in the case. There's a certain method, there's a certain training. It's not that somebody just rushes in there and starts picking things up. No, they have special training to do that. Similarly, great acharyas like Srila Prabhupada are especially trained, are especially empowered to take out the essence of the Bhagavatam. That's what a Paramahamsa does. Just like a swan is able to take the milk out of the water. Take the milk out, leave the water. Similarly, great Paramahamsas or realized liberated souls like Prabhupada can take the essence of the revealed scriptures, of the commentaries on the scriptures, and present this for the benefit of the whole world. Not very complicated, not very difficult. It only becomes difficult if when people start to change. Then it becomes difficult. That's why there is a very famous conversation with Srila Prabhupada, a lecture where Prabhupada said, when you change, the authority is lost. The authority in this movement is the sanctity of Prabhupada's books, his presentation. When that authority is modified, is changed, is altered, very troublesome. Very, very troublesome. Hare Krishna. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and his wonderful Srimad Bhagavatam. Hare Krishna.
All glories to Srila Prabhupada, and thank you, Yashodanandana Prabhu, for your explanation of this purport, which is very revealing to all of us as aspiring disciples. And we're seeing here how Prabhupada is so humble in his explanation of his writing of Srimad Bhagavatam and his apology for his point of explaining there may be grammatical errors and spelling mistakes, etc., due to his translation into English, but it does not minimize the potency of the presentation at all. In fact, Yashodanandana Prabhu, I can recall reading this purport back in 1971, and it confirmed our understanding that these particular comments that he was making had no real impact on the potency of his presentation. In fact, for us, back then, it was all the more attractive, the authenticity of it. And reading this purport today, it was making me think about Prabhupada's work back in the 50s when he was in Radha Damodar temple, working alone on making plans for spreading Krishna consciousness throughout the world after he had taken sannyas in solitude with no support from anyone. Not his family or his godbrothers, not anyone, hardly. But still, he was so deeply fixed on the mission of Lord Chaitanya, and it comes out in this purport. This is extraordinary. Somehow or other, people have concocted this idea that they should change the writings of Srila Prabhupada to make them better. This is, Prabhupada refers to it as third-class men. How can a third-class man change the writings of the pure devotee? How is it that that can help the transcendental message of Lord Chaitanya when a third-class man, for whatever reason or motive, undertakes this service, so-called, and in this way disturbs the disciplic succession, disturbs the parampara that Prabhupada represents to humanity at large. And these purports especially this purport today, reveals the facts. So I recommend to everyone, read this purport again and again, and try to understand the message that Prabhupada is conveying to all of us in terms of the transcendental benefits of this literature and how it can cure the ailments of the modern world. It was interesting to note, Yashodanandana Prabhu, that Prabhupada talked about the strife between China and India back then. And it's interesting to note that today we are also in that same troubled state due to the advancement of Kali Yuga, and even much more troubled. After all, look at how much the human society has been further degraded, especially in terms of lifestyle. Nowadays, it's just accepted that people eat meat. You think, oh, well, that's quite all right. Fast food industry has expanded beyond anyone's imagination. McDonald's and Subway and, well, Burger King, I heard, is going out of business. Gee, that's too bad, eh? But all these different meat, Kentucky Fried Chicken, and it's proliferated around the world. They're killing animals, billions of animals, without any remorse, without any conscience, no compassion, no peace. And they think there'll be no karma? Why? Because they have no knowledge that there is such a thing as karma. They have some kind of weak understanding of sinful activity in Christianity. Very weak. I was reading a book that one of our members of the ashram here gave me on Christianity. I thought, I'll just read it quickly. Very elementary, the philosophy. It was good. Trying to teach people how to live in the mode of goodness. It's not transcendental knowledge per se, like is explained by Srila Prabhupada in today's purport. But I told him, yes, just practice what you preach. Try to be a good Christian and carry on. Are they going to get the opportunity to read Srimad Bhagavatam? Are they going to get the opportunity to study Chaitanya Charitamrita? Are they going to get the opportunity to read the Bhagavad Gita as it is? Maybe, possibly, but likely, highly unlikely. Because only a great soul, only those people who are truly sincere about spiritual life will take this up, and they will surrender to this mission of Lord Chaitanya. We are on a mission to serve our spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada, with our sincere desire to please him. Because if you can please Srila Prabhupada by your actions, then that is the gateway to liberation. You have to understand that the pleasure of the spiritual master is the opportunity to become Krishna conscious. And we should do everything that we can to bring about this mercy on ourselves. Not fight amongst ourselves. Not to fault find each other. Not to minimize each other, but cooperate together in a humble state of mind. Someone may not like that. They're thinking, oh, I'm being targeted. No, we're not targeting anybody. After you've dealt with 10,000s of people, like many of us have, thousands and thousands, we're not interested in that. We're interested in the mission and us working together cooperatively to fulfill that mission, to protect Srila Prabhupada's legacy, this legacy is, some people, they talk about legacy, Yashodanandana Prabhu. Oh, I've got this legacy. I'm going to build a Samadhi tomb in Vrindavan. I've already purchased the land. And then people, after I pass away, they can all go to see my temple, my Samadhi. Why? Prabhupada has left us the transcendental opportunity through his books, because this is a movement based on Vani incarnation. You build a temple. Have you ever written a book? No. Have you ever gone out and sold unedited books? No. Have you ever actually gone in the kitchen and cooked some prasadam, offered it correctly, and given it to someone else to help them become advanced in their own journey? No. Yeah, but I'm a guru. What kind of guru? Oh, I'm a Diksha Guru, Uttama Adhikari. Oh, sure you are. Well, not according to Shastra. And I thought it was interesting, Prabhu, when you mentioned fact-finding as opposed to fault-finding. People think we're fault-finding people. The business of a fault-finder is a petty life. Fault-finding, that's easy. Anybody can find fault. But understanding the science of Krishna consciousness and associating with bona fide disciples of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, working together cooperatively with them to serve his mission, this is not fault-finding. This is fact-finding. People that do not study these books carefully, who do not implement them according to their ability to serve and enter into the process of fault-finding, that is not going to be productive for them. This is self-realization. And I wanted to mention just quickly as we move forward, this one Prabhu made a very interesting comment on our chat that anyone who reads the books is initiated. Yes, that's true. So, but let's understand the difference between formal initiation and initiated in the sense of starting the process. If you start the process, you've initiated your path back home, back to Godhead. But you grow the seed of bhakti yoga by chanting your rounds every day, 16 minimum, by following the 4 regulative principles, by studying the books thoroughly, all of the books. Some people talk about the books. Oh, I want to read this book, that book, this book, that book. Read Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita first, Nectar of Devotion first. Become thoroughly convinced through Prabhupada's writings of who we are in relation to him, no one else. This is the development of the Bhakti Lata Bija. You can start, initiate, yes, but spend your whole life practicing this process. And lastly, but most importantly, work together cooperatively with other like-minded devotees to spread the mission of Lord Chaitanya. This was the real ISKCON that's been lost. This is the real mission that we're trying to revive, and request everyone in this group, and it's very enlivening to see everyone stepping up and starting to help us with the publication of the books. Yashodanandana, I was thinking myself, this is a good program we're starting, but how much Lakshmi do we need to reproduce all of the books that Srila Prabhupada created for us in an unedited form? How much do we need? Is it 24,000? No, that's nothing. That is nothing. Okay, it's something. Someone gives a little donation. we could use unlimited Lakshmi for the production of Srila Prabhupada's books and the storing of, like Yashoda Prabhu, you have told us, or Prabhupada said we should print these books and store them in case something happens to the world and this could be lost, because if it's lost, everything is lost. This is a transcendental process of bhakti yoga. This is not hatha yoga. This is not Sankhya yoga. This is not karma yoga. It is bhakti yoga, and it is based on sound vibration. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and his transcendental literature. Yashoda Nandana, Prabhu, if you can continue.
Very important point that I raised here. Very important point. I wanted to read something from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 13, text number 55. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 13, text number 55. Just 1 second here. The earpiece is falling out. A pure devotee of the Lord does not live on any planet of the material sky, nor does he feel any contact with material elements. His so-called material body does not exist, being surcharged with the spiritual current of the Lord's identical interest, and thus he's permanently freed from all contaminations of the sum total of the Mahat Tattva. He is always in the spiritual sky, which he attains by being transcendental to the sevenfold material covering of by the effect of his devotional service. The conditioned souls are within the coverings, whereas the liberated soul is far beyond the cover, which brings me to a very interesting story I was told by a Prabhupada servant. Prabhupada was in Los Angeles one time, and he was asked by a reporter, well, what do you think of Los Angeles? And Prabhupada put his head up in the sky and he said, I am not in Los Angeles. I am in Vaikuntha, meaning the spiritual world. Hare Krishna.
Yes, absolutely. And I wanted to ask Krishna Kata in San Diego area, his comments on today's verses and explanations.
Well, the purport was so ecstatic that I can't wait to read it again. You know, you can feel your spiritual master right with you in every word in that purport. It's amazing that the preservation of his Vani, of his legacy, has to be done. And we are fortunate to be at our choice in this, you might call it a pastime. I guess it is, because,
yes,
you know, if you look back just a few months ago when you and I were speaking, Vishwakarma, and you had mentioned that, you know, we got to do this, KK. Let's just scan the books and just print them ourselves. And this was our first, like, motivator. And then you said to me, but Madhuha has maybe 1 or 2 sets left of this original palette that came from India of Prabhupada's first canto, the Srimad Bhagavatam from 1962. And so I contacted Madhuha, and 10 days later, I got this care package, and in it was the original Bhagavad Gita, Prabhupada authorized, first and second volume of Krishna book, and of course, many other small books, and this set of books. So a lot of people like in this chat keep seeing me put this up. It's because these are the exact same books you are all going to receive. So you were a part of this preservation of Prabhupada's legacy, all of us. Your donation of $5, you're a part of it, right? All donations are accepted by the Supreme Lord, regardless of the amount. So we have to keep this in mind, that within our means, we give, because everyone wants to be a part of this pastime. This is the preservation of his legacy, because that purport could be read every day for the rest of the time in your body. And every time you read it will be new realizations, new insights and enlightenments, because he pours his heart and soul into that purport. So thank you for being a part of this amazing group, the Prabhupada Disciple Association, and a part of this first wave that the PDA is putting out there for everyone to donate and get these books into your hands and begin to read them. And then you're going to want to buy more and distribute them. So this first pallet, or 2 pallets, whatever it ends up being, is the first of many, is what I predict, because this is Lord Chaitanya's movement, the Golden Avatar, and nobody can put it in check. No one can check the pure devotees movement. It's going to go on, whether it's inside of his temples that he created, or that group, or not. It's going on because sincere disciples of Srila Prabhupada, they know what pleases him, and they are in action to please him every day, such as you and Yashoda Nandana Prabhu. Thank you so much for letting me speak. And I can't wait to donate again. Just waiting on my next wave of money. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, there's an ecstasy in giving, that's for sure, for a valuable cause like the publication of these books, to enable other people to get them and study them. As human beings, we've got so many defects. And Prabhupada referred to the human body as a bad bargain for the spirit soul. But the best use of this bad bargain is to study. People study things. They're constantly studying mostly useless subject matters. They listen to useless music. They're involved in useless conversations. All they do is babble on. So until people reach this point of opportunity and take up the opportunity by practicing this process, their human life is wasted. I see that we have someone, I believe I spoke to this Mataji Penny Shaw. I believe I spoke to her in Mexico when I was there.
That's Pran Mohini, just for your information.
Pran Mohini, is it possible that your microphone is on? Maybe you could share some points of view today at this Zoom call meeting with the Prabhupada Disciples Association? Penny? I hope I didn't startle you. And I see we have Mario Panada. I believe his name is Mahatma. I see you posted some items. Maybe you could share some insights today with our group on today's verses and the discussions that we're having. Mario Panada.
Jai Prabhu's obeisances, all glories to Srila Prabhupada Mahatma Das here in the north of Florida.
Yes.
Thank you. I just like to accent that the Unity and Cooperation compilation that was made of Prabhupada's statements on the subject are found in prabhupadanuvasworldwide.org in articles, and it's extremely important information. And that's, other than that, I accent the example of Jayananda Prabhupada, order that we should follow that, and that's what I'm about, and self-sufficiency. So that's what I like to accent and contribute to the gathering. Thank you, Haribol.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Prabhu. Glories to Srila Prabhupada. Dharma Bhavana in Dallas, Texas. Maybe you could share some insights today on today's reading.
Hare Krishna. I just mentioned that Penny Shaw's, the host muted Penny Shaw, so maybe I could unmute that. And anyway, I did want to just make some comments. Thank you very much for the class today. It's very. I met one devotee from the Sri Sampradaya. He was at our house a few days ago. He was very devoted. So I asked him. I said, he's very dedicated to Sri Ramanujacharya. And I asked him. I said, if somebody wanted to change some of the words of Ramanujacharya because they were outdated, can somebody do that? And he got a really surprised look on his face, and he said, no. So I can understand that he's trained that Ramanujacharya's words are eternal and not meant to be changed according to time, place, and circumstances. But I had a question: if the devotees are so confident that they have the authority to make these thousands of changes in Prabhupada's books, and then why not follow the publishing rules and place the name of the editor on the front page? My understanding is that's kind of a rule. If you have a book and you change the author's words, and if he's not available anymore, then you have to, or you could at least put something in writing or some kind of document or something from some conversation where Prabhupada said that all of his work should be changed. So I just thought to ask these questions and let the devotees go from there. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Yes. Is it possible to unmute Penny's microphone? Whoever is the host. I know the host has been shifting up and down, so I'm not sure. Is her microphone muted?
It's working now. It's working. Yeah. Haribol, Vanchakalpa, thank you. Thank you for the invite. You want me to make a couple of comments?
Please, by all means. And it was good to meet you in Mexico,
Yes.
actually, with Govinda Dasi. You're working with her.
Yes.
Go ahead, please.
So, yeah, this verse, I know this verse, and it has a renewed feeling right now because of all of the dialogue and debate going on around this issue of Prabhupada's books and the changes. So this verse in Prabhupada's commentary has so much more relevance when we read it today, or when I hear it today. And it's almost as if Prabhupada knew that this was going to be relevant because it's so on point about, honest men will accept this and not try to change it. And only certain divine individuals are empowered to make these translations and share these holy scriptures and revelations. So I just found it so on point and like a direct arrow to this issue that so many devotees are confronting and talking about right now.
Yes.
And yeah, I just thank you for allowing me to be a fly on the wall and listening to you, all of your association, you all who were so close to Srila Prabhupada. It's really priceless, and it has so much value for the rest of us and even all of us in this circle. But I mean, just the greater movement of devotees. Your association is so valuable. So thank you very much.
Thank you. And Yashodanandana, Prabhu, you have your
I just want to make a very brief comment on this Mataji's comment. You mentioned that she was associating with Govinda Dasi.
Yes.
Mataji, you may be familiar with many of Govinda Dasi's statements but she was a direct witness along with Srila Prabhupada and Gaur Sundar when Prabhupada was instructing Hayagriva how to edit the Bhagavad Gita in the first and second canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. She has written about this. She has given her own testimony, which is very, very important and which dispels a lot of the misconceptions and misrepresentations by some certain editors. Now, I don't want to give the name here. Everybody knows who we're talking about here. But Govinda Dasi's testimony is very, very important. And since you're there in Mexico with her, you can probably talk with her. She will know this, and you might know this as well. Hare Krishna.
It's very
yes, Prabhu.
Yes,
Prabhu. I get to hear it from her at many different angles and redundantly, which I'm happy that I need to hear it redundantly over and over again. So I am trying to absorb all of that information, but this is a primary goal of hers, to make sure that everybody hears it over and over again and gets it and understands the paramount importance of Prabhupada's books and the original, unchanged, unadulterated ones. So I'm very fortunate in that way.
Nice.
Excellent. Yes, by good association, you can make advancement in spiritual life. Bad association can be disastrous. And this is what we have to be able to do, is qualifying what we hear and qualifying who we associate with. And this will be the difference between success and failure. Ron Singh in Sacramento, California. Maybe you could give us an update on how we're doing with our GoFundMe campaign.
Okay.
That people can join.
Right. So
Sure.
the GoFundMe page, let's see if I can share.
Please.
Oh, she left.
Okay, here we go. This is the GoFundMe campaign.
Yes.
Can everyone see on the screen? Okay. Right, so here we go. Printing of the original 1962, 1964, and 1965 Daily Bhagavatam sets. So we have raised $7,076 of the 24,000 goal. We have 29 donations from all of the devotees all across the world. Here are the last donations here. We can see here. These are the names. I'm not good with names, but you can see their names are highlighted here. 1 hour ago, a devotee donated $100, 108,
Most
108.
everybody's $100.
Yes.
Januspriya, $108. Anonymous, $54 here. So these are all the great devotees who have donated. Aprakita, Robert Barron. So we're encouraging all the devotees who are watching to give for this wonderful service of printing Srila Prabhupada's original Bhagavatam sets. We are going to send you this set here, you see here, in pristine condition. We're trying to get the books as soon as possible. The sooner we get the donations in, the sooner we're going to get the books out to all the devotees who have donated. We're asking devotees to share the links with their family, friends on Facebook. This is a very unique campaign to print all of Srila Prabhupada's original books. We want all the devotees in the world to have Srila Prabhupada's original book sets, and then they can also distribute. We want the books to come in and then go out. No keeping. So we're just gonna get the books. We're gonna ship them out to all the devotees who have donated, and then whatever extra Lakshmi we get, we're gonna print more books. So this is just one little start of a huge campaign to get all of Srila Prabhupada's books into print. Srila Prabhupada wanted all students, disciples, people who are favorable to have sets of his books. So this is a restarting of the original Krishna consciousness movement by publishing Srila Prabhupada's original Bhagavatam sets. So thank you very much to all the devotees who have donated. If you're watching this, if you're not contributed, kindly contribute. Share the links with your family, friends, well wishers, print up some flyers, or contact me if you have any questions. Vishwakarma is there. You can also contact him, Yashodanandana, Krishna Katha. So we're all working together behind the scenes. This was a unique project that kind of shaped up over the past few years. This just didn't come up just like this. We have been discussing this behind the scenes for many years. So thank you, Vishwakarma Prabhu, Yashodanandana, Krishna Katha, all the devotees who have donated. We really appreciate your donation, and we'd like to get more donations in so we can get all the books published here and sent out. Thank you very much, Prabhus. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Yeah, thank you, Ron Singh. Ramachandra, you're also very committed to the preservation of Srila Prabhupada's legacy and the blissful opportunity to work with other like-minded devotees and to associate with like-minded devotees, because there is a intrinsic value in this. And for those that are pure of heart, they will experience transcendental bliss in that association. These classes invoke a transcendental realization in the heart of the sincere listener. There is potency in the transcendental affairs of the devotees of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This is not simply mental concoction or mental speculation, which has no substance. And we do look forward in the future to organize some festivals and joining together in Kirtan, which is an amazing experience. I have to say personally, in Toronto, for years, we were very much absorbed in Kirtan. And it was a very wonderful transcendental experience to be in the Kirtan with like-minded devotees, all committed to the service of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. The Kirtan, the hearing of Srimad Bhagavatam, the sharing of prasadam, and the surrendered association of like-minded devotees. There's nothing better than this. Nothing equal to it in this entire universe. And Lord Chaitanya has come to bless us with this opportunity. And we want to thank everyone who's also, and we've added this campaign, which has given us a new spice in the feast of devotional service. It's really wonderful. It really is. And we hope that all of you will participate as generously or as much as you can. Like I said, if we have 24 people that give $1,000, then that's 24,000. We've reached the campaign. Whatever you can afford, you do that, please. And then we'll be able to carry on and build our service to Srila Prabhupada moving forward into the future. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Yes, who is it?
Two devotees just donated $108. Devotees' names are Robert and Amit Patel. So thank you very much for donating, Prabhus. Your names are coming up here. We'll send you a set of books once we get it. Thank you.
Yeah, and I'm going to include, we're also including one of our transcendental shirts here.
Right.
So for $108, you'll get the set of books and Sri
Yeah, sure.
Easy Journey to Other Planets and a Krishna t-shirt that you can wear proudly around in the supermarkets or the streets, or if you go on Sankirtan. And they'll be in ladies and men's sizes. So you have to send your specific details to Ron Singh or myself. And when we make up the packages, we'll send them off to all of you in appreciation for your participation. I mean, our goal is to distribute the books. And that's going to be the next part of the campaign. Get them printed, and then we work on selling them to other people who are truly interested in spiritual life. Prabhupada said, you have to be very serious about Krishna consciousness in order to get a bona fide spiritual master. Serious. This is not some kind of show bottle fad. Prabhupada referred to guru is not fad. Having guru means you have to surrender. It's a surrendering process. And that's what initiation is, to surrender. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. We're going to move forward. Hopefully we can do this with the kirtan, and then after that, the Vanchakalpa prayers in the closing cover of our program. And we'll see everyone next Wednesday at 8 p.m. for Chaitanya Charitamrita reading and discussion. All glories to the Sankirtan movement.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna.
Haribo? I guess the sound was cut off.
Yeah, something happened.
Venkat Prabhu said he was having some problems with the sound, so maybe we can end it here.
Yes. Let us offer respectful obeisances to all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord. Vanchakalpa tarubhyascha kripa sindubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo namo namaha. Thanks everybody for participating with all of your comments, and thank you all for your help and your kind donations. And we will all reconvene on Wednesday, 5:00 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, corresponding to 8:00 Eastern Time, Toronto and Boston time. Hare Krishna, all glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna.